What is going on today, guys? Welcome back to an episode of Weaver Reacts. We're reacting to Bolo, the producer, talking about should artists ditch streaming and go back to physical copies. Before we get into that, though, make sure to like and subscribe if you're new here. This is going to be a good one. I think it's going to be a good one. Also, I have a new affiliate link. So we have Plugin Boutique and we also have THOMANN now. If you want to buy something, see if it's on one of those places. I get kickback from it and no extra cost to you. A lot of us have our music on streaming platforms. And for me, one of the biggest benefits for having your music on a streaming platform is promotion. The money, it fucking sucks. Per stream, it fucking sucks. Now, I think Bolo may have a different take here. I've only seen a part of it. So I'm going to try to give some counterpoints or agree to whatever I agree to. Bolo's a good dude. Follow him on his second channel if you haven't. So briefly here, this is going to be of a react to a react, but only for a minute because he uses it as a launching point. And I'm going to use this as a launching point. He actually doesn't say anything during the clip in the beginning, which I'm going to be saying a bunch of shit. All right, this is probably going to be long as fuck. Either that, I'm not going to react to the whole video. Okay, let's go.
All right, so the legend Scarface had this to say about streaming and how much you make on Shannon Sharpe's latest podcast.
1 million streams is $4,000. What?
Okay, so I'm going to be pausing a lot here, guys, just to let you know, all right? So Bolo, he's definitely a yapper. I'm a yapper too, but you just got to put some content in front of me. And 90% of the time, I'm going to yap for like 3 times as long as that video is, okay? So first of all, I don't know why Shannon Sharpe doesn't know this. I don't know why that's surprising to him. Maybe he's pretending to be surprised, but he should know this. I mean, if you have a podcast, podcasts don't pay very well either. Granted, he was a football player. I don't know, football players' brains aren't usually doing the best. I'm assuming the payouts may be different for podcast plays.
Yeah.
So should rappers take their music off stream to get it back to where people got to pay real money to get it?
It's not such a black and white option, in my opinion, because you're losing out on a lot of promotion these days by not having your music on streaming platforms. Obviously, Spotify is the worst one just because of all the bad shit they do. They're constantly trying to undercut artists. The CEO is investing in some sort of like AI war machine shit. Not like Iron Man, not like cool shit, like drones or something like that. But yeah, it shouldn't be such a black and white option, in my opinion, because one of the best options I've heard is to sell physical media and downloads first for the first few weeks, maybe even longer than that, and then put it on streaming in order to like get those extra sales down the road and basically collect on like the early super fans and whatnot. I hate talking about super fans and stuff like that. It feels like really parasocial, but if we're going to be talking business when it comes to music, we do have to be talking about that.
I would. It costed us so much money to make those albums. Mm-hmm. It cost so much to pay a producer. But now, you know what? I think producers may make a beat for $200 now. So
a lot of things have changed. If you're going to compare the prices of beats back then and the price of recording back then, you got to be looking at how much you were paid back then too. Now, granted, you couldn't really do it by yourself back then. If you did, it was fairly difficult. Promotion was not as easy as it is on Spotify now. So you were making more money, but you're also spending more money, right? Now, I'm not saying Spotify is a net positive yet, okay? I'm just saying there's a lot more to keep in mind here. For some reason, people compare variables from different time periods, and you have to remember, you should be comparing from the same time period. Yeah, beats are $200 now, but, look at how many people are producing. Look at how easy it is to produce now. My point is, a lot of things have changed. It's not just one thing. Everything has basically changed.
I'm not lying, but I know back in the gap, a Dr. Dre beat was 250 grand. Timberland beat was $150,000, $200,000.
Regardless of how good those guys were at the time, they could be gods. You could consider them gods. You could just consider them okay. Their beats should not have been worth that much money, dude. Maybe it's because like the knowledge is more gatekept and there was only so many people with like that much motion. But come on, dude. There's no justification for them costing that much.
Wow. As the Neptunes and all of them, that shit was high.
Yeah.
So it would be shameful to get a beat from these top-notch producers and then have to put your shit on a stream and wait for it to stream.
So like I was saying, we're comparing variables from different time periods. If you're paying $150K for a beat at this point, bro, somebody could sell you anything at this point if you're paying $150K for a beat.
So you got to in order to get some money, you got to do like 1 billion streams.
If you want some money, yeah.
So like Drake and Kendrick, they doing billions.
They be doing.
I like how I'm saying more than Bolo here. Bolo's the yapper. So obviously there's more to keep in mind than just streams. Like I said, streaming in my opinion is more of like a promotion. Like while you do get some money, you should be getting more money. Don't get me wrong. You should be getting more money than you do. The best thing about it is promotion though. Like, for instance, if I were to take my music off of Spotify, I'm losing out on 10,000 monthly listeners. For those of you who don't know, I actually upload music to Spotify and other platforms. Surprise. I have long before I did YouTube, actually. I used to have 50,000 on there. What? He makes music? That's a lie. That's a fucking lie. That's why I would struggle to take it off of Spotify specifically. I can hate them as much as I want, but I'm benefiting too much from them at this point. If it gets to like a real period where people are actually doing a like deep protest of Spotify and like a large amount of people are going off it, I might do it too. But other than that, like I'm benefiting way too much from having my music on there. Not even really financially, but in terms of promotion. And another thing to keep in mind is shows, you know? You can get shows because of that. You're being known because of that. You can get booked in different areas because of that. Now, granted, does everyone need that? No. Does it help though? Yes. Is everyone doing some sort of numbers on there? No. So there's definitely more to benefit from it than just that. But you also have to keep in mind, not all genres are suited for live shows either.
Billions of streams. So they're getting money.
Yeah, Beyonce, Taylor Swift.
Streams. You know, but it's too much. It's too much red tape, man, in between that, because you don't never know. It's kind of like the record selling too. You don't know how many records you really sold.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What they tell you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always going to be that way. I mean, that's just like that's a variable. That's the only variable that doesn't change. Granted, the variable does alter slightly, but it's the same problem every time, right? So you just have to trust them. We might as well just leave that one off the table, because we can't change that.
Let's just go by what they tell you. You know, but the streaming, I'm still not hip to how this works.
Right.
And that's why I'm not putting out any new music. I'm not releasing any new music, because
I mean, I don't understand why he's not hip to how it works. Like, you could learn how it works in a night.
it would just be all done in vain. Because those people have come up with something so slick to cut us all the way out the money. Mm-hmm. You know, the mom and pop saved hip hop. The mom and pop saved our lives, because if we couldn't do anything else, we can sell 100,000 records and make $1 million. Mm-hmm. God forbid you sold 1 million records. And
yeah, I would like to see somebody sell 1 million records in 2025. You know, yeah, God forbid. More like the earth forbids. It's not happening at this point. You know, if you could somehow make it popular to buy physical copies again, then maybe. But yeah, that's not happening.
Made $10 million. You know.
But you used to go back in the day. You look forward to going to the shop and getting the vinyl.
You did. And you read the credit.
Bro, I'm pausing like 100 times. Polo hasn't paused once. He's just letting the whole thing play. But I don't know. I don't even know how he collects his thoughts like this, because like I'm gonna forget the shit. Maybe I just got too much brain damage from the drugs. I don't even know what I was going to say anymore. I still buy vinyl. To me, vinyl is the best medium to listen on. And it's not about analog warmth. It's about the fact that it's actually damaged. It's damaged when you listen to it. It gets damaged more over time. It feels alive. The way the record playbacks changes ever so slightly over time as it's playing. It feels like you're getting a slightly different listening experience every single time you listen to a vinyl record. And you do it like on a small level. But the thing is, when you listen to an MP3 file or a WAV file, you're hearing the song over and over the exact same way. Now, that's a very minute detail, but when you listen to music all the time, it's something you pick up on, you know? If I could listen to vinyl only all the time, even in my car and whatnot, I would. It's not feasible though, so I just listen to it when I'm like in the mood to listen to something I have on vinyl. And I do have like a lot of modern stuff on vinyl. It's not even about like frequency spectrum or analog warmth or anything. Like none of that. I don't think that's real. If anything, it might even sound worse. But the fact it sounds worse kind of makes it sound better. That's just my take on it. That's why I like vinyl.
You can roll a square on the record. Say yes. Yes. Yeah. You know, you pop the cassette in. Yeah, like we had jams, man, and they sold. Not just listening to shit, man. And I'm gonna listen to this, and I'm gonna pay him half a penny. But after this, I want to hear something else and pay them half a penny. No.
See, the thing is, bro, I might as well just react to this original clip here and just fucking leave Bolo out of this, dude. Because I already got like 15 minutes out of this here. The thing is, consumers don't think about it that way. They're not thinking about it that way at all. They're thinking, I got a good deal. I paid $10 a month. I get to listen to all this music I want. They're not thinking about how artists are not getting paid. And it's not even that they don't completely care. A lot of them know it's so convenient that they could probably just, you know, push it to the back of their mind and not worry about it anymore. That's kind of the reason why I don't think music streaming is ever going to go away. I just don't think there's a way to replace convenience for consumers. They're going to always take convenience at the cost of people being paid well that they actually like. You know, they'll just forget about it. It's way easier to think about that convenience than it is to think about the people you're hurting. I mean, it's, you know, that's kind of hyperbolic, but you know what I'm saying. This opens up a bunch of conversations though, like, is music worth anything? Should it be worthless? That's a whole nother conversation. We'll just leave that there.
You had to buy that body of work.
Yeah.
Like you can't like a real artist, man, you can't judge their body of work by one song.
All right, so yes, the legend, Scarface, and I'm gonna start off by saying this. What he was saying is actually right. I actually agree with what he's saying, especially with the fact of, you know, the body of work and especially the amount production has went down so far.
I mean, a majority of the stuff is just facts. There's not really much to agree on. Like, it's like agreeing if the sky's blue, you know?
Or it's the cost and everything like that.
No hate, though. No hate to Bolo. Just saying, it's like agreeing that the sky's blue.
I actually agree with that with him. And I really do feel that you need to listen to a body of work from an artist rather than just listening to one song, because right now we're in a very much of a microwave society.
That's definitely a good point. That's definitely a good point, because I feel like there are songs that are going to be popular from one artist, but not every song is made for every person, you know? What may actually be your favorite song from an album may not be 99% of people's favorite song from an album. You may like resonate much more with this one other song. Is that always the case though? No. But is that the case sometimes? Yes.
And people do not really want to like do research on these artists or anything anymore. They just listen to a song and it's just, oh, we pass it and we keep going. However, on the streaming side, I kind of have a different point of view a little bit with that, because I came in right when, you know, sales were going out and streaming was coming in.
Okay, so I know he has a different point of view here. I'm gonna say he's got a little bit of a bias here, man. He has a hit song. You know, not everyone has a hit song, and I do have songs with a lot of plays. I have my own song with 2 million plays, 2.1 million or something like that, all legit. That's still not a lot of money though. And to replicate that over and over is very difficult. It's actually a lot easier to get somebody with traction and then produce for them.
And for what I can tell you is that I pretty much made the same amount of money. The only thing is it takes longer to get your money. That's the one thing with streaming that I noticed with a lot of, I can call them my OGs, from producers to everybody else. We have long conversations about streaming.
There's no numbers to back this up. I don't know if that's 100% true just based off what he's saying. Like, how many sales were you doing before streaming and how many are you doing post streaming? If we knew it's the same amount, then yeah, then we could say that. But it's hard to say. You know, it's hard to say because like we're not seeing the numbers here. And like, I mean, when you're at a point where he is, where you have like a viral song.
The one thing that I do like about streaming is say, for instance, if you just think about a song and you want to hear that song, whether it's on iTunes, whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on YouTube, you can pretty much hear that song somewhere.
That's the thing. It's the only good thing about it is convenience. And now that's the reason why it sells so well.
YouTube Music, completely free. It just comes with ads. You can listen to whatever song that
well, I mean, same thing with Spotify and Apple Music too, right?
you want to listen to in that database at any time. And then when you do that, CDs were going pretty expensive at that time. So you would have to pay $15 to sometimes $17, $20 for a CD, okay? So people were making a lot of money back then. So when you're making a lot of money like that back in that time, everything goes up, even with production. Like I was just on Sunday Digital's Live, and I was talking about, you know, back in the early 2000s, it was not uncommon for me to sell a beat straight to somebody on the street for $700, $800, $900, sometimes $1,000. It wasn't uncommon. But as time went on, it got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
It's just a matter of saturation.
Kids selling beats for $200. You know, I don't know if they're leasing them. I don't know if they're giving out full rights. I don't know, but you have kids selling beats for that much. However, you had people selling beats for that much back in the day as well. So I think that from where he's coming at, I think that he's looking at it from a point of view from somebody who has their own record deal, they're in the industry, and they're a top-notch artist. Because as we know, the people that he did list in that he was saying as producers, they only worked with the best of the best, and they only worked with people who had the budget to be worked with. So Dr. Dre was not giving out beats to Joe Smo over here and this person over there. They were working with people who have budgets, because if you know about the music game, budgets back then was how a lot of people got paid. the budget is what people were looking for rather than sometimes even actual sales. Because say, for instance, if you're a producer and you're charging a lot of money, you got to work with somebody who has the budget to pay you, or you really got to believe in that artist and say, hey, what we can do is we can do a swap out, or we can do this or do that. And during that time, a lot of people weren't doing swap outs like that. They were.
Yeah. That's the thing is too, like, you're so replaceable these days.
I get what he's saying, but from an independent point of view, a lot of people who were independent back in those days worked with people who did not get paid. The only person back then who sometimes got paid while you were independent back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s was the engineers, because a lot of people did not have home studios. And even if you did, you had to have a qualified engineer who knew how to work the tape, who knew how to work certain things, or unless you bought something like maybe a 4-track tape recorder or something like that you can record at your crib or whatever. But other than that, if you wanted a quality sound, you would have to go to a decent studio with decent engineers and get everything recorded. So during that time, and I've talked to a lot of people, they had people who were working with them, and then sometimes they didn't even get money as producers, because a lot of times is those tapes and those CDs were being sold pretty much on the street level. So even if an artist was working with somebody, they might shoot them a couple dollars. Hey man, how much you gonna charge for these beats? Oh man, give me $1,500 for 3. Okay, the producer gets his, $1,500 for, for those 3 beats. The artist goes out, makes songs to the beats.
I think it's crazy people will, not write songs to the beats first, because in my experience, like just doing vocals, I'm not paying for the beat until I know I like the song I write to it. I mean, that's the way it works. Like if you get like an MP3 off YouTube or something, and then you write to it, you like the song, you make it like, all right, fine, I'll buy the lease on it. Maybe buy the exclusive on it. I mean, shit, just buying a beat, not knowing how the song is going to come out, that's wild. That is risky. You got to really believe in your own abilities. All right, I think that's a good stopping point there. Bolo's got some pretty decent takes here. I think he probably went into some more stuff here, but like this is just too long a video. I think I got off the things I wanted to say. Go to check out Bolo MP3 if you haven't, his second channel. I'll link that in the description. I'll see you guys next time.